Let me tell you something that nobody in your life has had the courage to tell you. You are being used. Not because you are weak, not because you are stupid, but because you are nice. And in a world that operates on power, leverage, and perception, being nice without understanding human nature is not a virtue. It is a vulnerability. It is an open door that people walk through, wipe their feet on your effort, and leave without saying thank you. You have been taught your entire life that if you are kind, if you are generous, if you put other people first, then the world will reward you. People will respect you. The right person will love you. Success will come to you because you deserve it. That is the story they sold you. And you bought it. You bought it completely. You ironed it, hung it in your closet, and wear it every single day. But look around you. Is that what is actually happening? The person who keeps saying yes at work is not getting promoted. They are getting more work. The man who does everything for a woman, who makes himself completely available, who moves his entire schedule around her needs, is not the man she stays with. He is the man she friend zones while she talks about someone else. The person who lends money to family without asking questions is not honored at gatherings. They are quietly laughed at, taken for granted. Called again next month. This is not cynicism. This is not bitterness. This is the cold, mechanical reality of how human psychology actually operates when you strip away the polite fiction people perform in public. And if you want to stop being the victim of it, you need to understand it. Not to become evil, not to manipulate innocent people, but to stop walking through life with your chest open, handing your heart to anyone who smiles at you. Let us start at the very beginning. The nice guy is not born. He is manufactured. Somewhere early in your childhood, you learned something. You learned that love was conditional. Maybe your parents were only warm when you behaved. Maybe you got attention by solving problems, by being the calm one, by not making noise. Maybe you were in an environment where conflict was dangerous, where someone's mood could turn a home into a war zone, and you learned to manage everyone's feelings as a survival strategy. You became agreeable because agreeable meant safe. You became helpful because helpful meant valued. You became self-erasing because having desires of your own led to friction, and friction led to pain. None of this was a conscious decision. You were a child. You adapted. And the adaptation worked at the time. It kept you emotionally safe in an environment where you had no real power. The problem is that you never updated the software. You carried those childhood strategies into your adult life, into your relationships, your career, your social circle. And now the same behavior that once protected you is quietly destroying your standing in every room you walk into. This is what psychologists sometimes call the fawn response. When faced with stress, some people fight, some people flee, some people freeze, and some people fawn. They appease, they agree. They make themselves small, pleasant, and useful, so that no one has a reason to turn on. The fawn response kept you safe as a child. As an adult, it signals to predatory personalities that you are an easy target. Now here is where we enter the territory most people are afraid to discuss. There is a spectrum of human behavior. On one end, there are genuinely empathetic, caring people who form real connections and enrich the lives around them. On the other end, there are individuals who operate with a fundamentally different internal orientation. They do not experience empathy the way you do. They experience strategy. They look at a room full of people, and they are not thinking about connection. They are thinking about who is useful, who is vulnerable, who can be positioned, who can be leveraged. And the first thing they detect when they walk into that room is you, because you radiate a very specific frequency. The excessive agreeableness, the slight anxiety when someone seems displeased, the way you over-explain yourself when challenged, the way you give ground in arguments too quickly, the way you laugh a little too fast at other people's jokes, the way you apologize when someone else steps on your foot. These are not subtle signals. To someone fluent in the language of social dominance, you are broadcasting your operating manual, and they are reading it with great interest. Dark psychology, in its most honest definition, is the study of how human beings exploit the psychological vulnerabilities of others. Not in the dramatic movie villain sense, but in the quiet, everyday sense that plays out in offices, in relationships, in families, in friendships. It is the art of reading people at a level deeper than conversation, and using what you find there to influence outcomes in your favor. The uncomfortable truth is that everyone uses some version of this, whether they know it or not. The question is whether you are aware of the game being played, or whether you are the only player who does not know there is a game at all. Let me describe someone you probably know. There is a person in your life, maybe at work, maybe in your social circle, maybe someone you have dated, who seems magnetic, charming, effortlessly confident. People are drawn to them. When they walk in, the energy in the room shifts. They seem to know exactly what to say and when to say it. They never seem anxious or needy. They give you just enough attention to make you want more. And when you are around them, you find yourself working to earn their approval without quite understanding why. That person is not operating on luck or natural charisma alone. They are operating, whether consciously or not, on a set of psychological principles that govern human attraction and social hierarchy. One of those principles is scarcity. What is rare is valued. What is abundant is taken for granted. When you are endlessly available, endlessly agreeable, endlessly generous with your time and energy, you remove all scarcity from the equation. You become ambient, like air. People do not cherish air. They only notice it when it is gone. The person you are thinking of right now understands scarcity, even if they have never used the word. They disappear sometimes. They have standards that they do not compromise. They say no without apology. They have a life that does not revolve around managing your feelings. And paradoxically, this makes you want their attention more, not less. Another principle is status signaling. Human beings are wired to pay attention to hierarchy. This is not a cultural invention. It goes back hundreds of thousands of years to when your social standing in a group determined your access to resources, to safety, to survival. Your nervous system still runs that ancient code.
When someone presents themselves as high status, confident, unbothered by what others think, your brain pays attention at a primal level before your rational mind even weighs in. The nice guy, without knowing it, constantly signals low status. Every unnecessary apology, every anxious over-clarification, every instant reply to a message, every willingness to change his plans at a moment's notice, every agreement with opinions he does not actually hold, these all send the same signal down into people's nervous systems.
This person is not a priority. This person needs me more than I need them. And once that signal is registered, the entire dynamic of the relationship is set. Now let us talk about manipulation, because it is the word everyone is afraid of, but everyone needs to understand. Manipulation is not inherently the same as evil. Manipulation in its broadest sense simply means influencing someone's thoughts or behavior through means that bypass their rational deliberation. When a company designs an app to be addictive, that is manipulation. When someone gives you a compliment just before asking you for a favor, that is manipulation. When someone creates a sense of urgency to pressure you into a decision, that is manipulation. When someone uses your insecurities to control your behavior, that is manipulation. It is happening to you constantly, in advertising, in politics, in social media algorithms, in certain relationships, in some families. The nice guy is uniquely vulnerable to several specific manipulation tactics. The first is guilt induction. Because you are someone who cares deeply about how others perceive you, and because you have a strong aversion to being seen as unkind, people who understand this can weaponize your own conscience against you. They frame your reasonable boundaries as selfishness. They remind you of what they have done for you at the exact moment you try to say no. They manufacture emotional distress that they know you will feel compelled to relieve. And so you relent. You give in. You do the thing you did not want to do. And you feel vaguely resentful, but mostly just glad the tension is gone. The second is intermittent reinforcement. This is one of the most powerful psychological mechanisms known to behavioral science. It is the same principle that makes gambling addictive. When reward is unpredictable, when sometimes you get warmth and connection, and sometimes you get coldness and distance, your brain becomes obsessed with closing the gap. You work harder. You try to figure out what you did wrong. You escalate your investment, trying to get back to the good moments. People who are emotionally manipulative, whether they know the science or not, often do this instinctively. They alternate between pulling you in and pushing you away, and each cycle deepens your psychological attachment. The third is social proof and group pressure. Nice guys desperately want to be liked, and more specifically, they are afraid of being the one who does not go along. So they get recruited into situations they never wanted to be in. They stay silent when they should speak. They endorse opinions they do not hold. They participate in group dynamics that quietly corrode their self-respect. So what do you actually do about this? The first thing you do is stop trying to be liked and start focusing on being respected. These are not the same thing. In fact, they are often inversely related. People who desperately want to be liked tend to generate mild positive feelings in others. A kind of pleasant indifference, the way you feel about a piece of furniture that does not bother you. People who command respect generate something entirely different. They generate attention, consideration, sometimes even a mild anxiety in the people around them. The awareness that this is someone who cannot be treated carelessly. Respect comes from consistency, from the willingness to stand behind your positions under pressure, from having genuine values that you do not compromise for social comfort. It comes from being unpredictable in the specific way that all powerful people are unpredictable, not in a chaotic sense, but in the sense that people cannot quite get a full read on you, cannot calculate exactly what you will do next, cannot take your response for granted. The second thing you do is learn to sit with other people's discomfort without immediately trying to fix it. The nice guy's deepest compulsion is the need to manage other people's emotional states. When someone is unhappy, he rushes to smooth it over. When someone is angry, he backs down. When someone is disappointed, he caves. This compulsion is what makes him controllable, because anyone who discovers it can generate those emotional states on demand and watch him respond like a machine. You have to retrain yourself to tolerate someone being unhappy with you, to hold your position while someone expresses frustration, to allow silence to exist after you say no. This is not about being indifferent to people's feelings. It is about recognizing that you are not responsible for managing every emotional state in every room you walk into. You are not an emotional support infrastructure. You are a person with your own interior life, with your own right to make decisions that do not require universal approval. The third thing you do is develop genuine self-interest.
Not selfishness in the crude sense. Self-interest. The ability to know what you want, to name it clearly in your own mind, and to move toward it without apologizing for its existence. The nice guy has often suppressed his own desires so thoroughly that he genuinely struggles to answer the question of what he wants. His identity has been so organized around other people's needs that his own have atrophied from disuse.
Start asking yourself every day in small situations and large ones, what do I actually want here? Not what is the right answer. Not what will make this person happy. Not what will keep the peace. What do I want? And then incrementally, start honoring that answer. Not in explosive, dramatic ways, but in small, consistent ways that begin to rebuild your relationship with your own preferences. There is a concept in the study of power known as frame control. A frame is the underlying lens through which an interaction is interpreted. Who holds the dominant frame in a conversation controls the reality of that conversation. When a pushy salesman puts you in the frame of someone who has to justify why you are not buying, and you start explaining your financial situation, he has won the frame. When a manipulative partner puts you in the frame of someone who has to prove they care, and you start performing to demonstrate your affection, she has won the frame. When a colleague puts you in the frame of someone who is being unreasonable for not taking on more work, and you start explaining why you are already overwhelmed, he has won the frame. The nice guy almost always loses the frame, because his deepest need is to be understood and approved of. And so he gets pulled into other people's narratives about who he is and what he owes them. He spends enormous energy defending himself, explaining himself, justifying himself. And every defense, every explanation, every justification is an implicit acceptance of the other person's frame. Frame control is not about being aggressive or dismissive. It is about not abandoning your own perspective the moment someone pushes back. It is about being able to hear someone's version of events without automatically accepting it as objective truth. It is about responding from your own internal center rather than from a reactive scramble to regain approval. A person with strong frame control does not need to argue loudly. They simply do not enter the frame they are being handed. They respond from their own reality. And this is profoundly disorienting to people who are used to setting the terms. Let us talk about relationships specifically, because this is where the nice guy suffers the most obviously. The dynamic is almost always the same. He finds someone he is attracted to. He makes himself completely available. He is attentive, thoughtful, generous, accommodating. He suppresses any needs or preferences that might create friction. He molds himself into whatever shape seems most likely to keep the other person happy. He believes that if he just gives enough, cares enough, tries enough, he will eventually be rewarded with the love and appreciation he is pouring out. And instead, attraction fades. Respect erodes. He gets placed in a category that is close, but not compelling. And he cannot understand why. Because by every metric of what he was taught, he is doing everything right. The reason is deeply counterintuitive, but psychologically well documented. Attraction, whether romantic or in terms of general social magnetism, is not generated by comfort and unconditional availability. It is generated by tension, by a slight uncertainty, by the feeling that this person has their own inner life that you have not fully accessed yet, that they might be different tomorrow than they were today, that they do not need you the way you need oxygen. This is not about playing games. It is about actually being a fully formed human being who has not collapsed his identity into the shape of what someone else might want. The person you are trying to attract does not want a mirror. They want someone with enough solidity of self that being near them feels like encountering something real. Someone who disagrees sometimes. Someone who has passions that have nothing to do with you. Someone who can be warm and generous, but who also has an edge. A place where they stop, where they hold something back, where you sense there is more depth than they are immediately offering. That is compelling. That is the person people stay for. There is a dark principle in human nature that is rarely spoken about plainly. Most people, not all, but most, do not assign value based on what is freely given to them. They assign value based on what they had to earn or what they fear losing. This is why the parent who was slightly emotionally withholding gets idealized, while the one who was fully available gets taken for granted. This is why the job you worked hardest to get feels more meaningful than the one handed to you. This is why the relationship you almost lost, where you had a moment of genuine uncertainty about whether it would survive, often produces the deepest bond. The nice guy gives everything freely, with no conditions, no standards, no sense that his presence and investment represent something genuinely valuable that might be withdrawn. And in doing so, he accidentally teaches people not to value him. This is not something you fix by becoming cold or withholding in a performative way. That is just another mask. What you fix it with is genuine self-respect. The actual internal belief that what you bring to the table, your time, your attention, your energy, your loyalty, is worth something. That it is not a currency you hand out to everyone who is vaguely pleasant to you. That you have standards, not as a negotiating tactic, but because you actually value yourself enough to have them. Power, at its most essential, is simply the ability to shape your own reality rather than having it shaped for you. It is not about domination. It is not about controlling others. It is about being the author of your own life rather than a supporting character in someone else's story. The nice guy has handed that authorship to others. He makes decisions based on what others will think. He spends his mental energy managing other people's perceptions of him. He filters his authentic responses through the question of whether they will be approved of. And in doing this, he does not really live his own life. He lives a life designed to not upset anyone, which is a very different thing. Reclaiming your power begins with a single foundational shift. You stop making other people's approval the primary currency by which you measure your own worth. This is not something that happens in an afternoon. It is not something that happens because you watched a video or read a book. It happens through hundreds of small moments where you choose your own judgment over the anxiety of disapproval, where you say what you actually think, where you hold a position under pressure, where you make a decision for yourself without canvassing everyone around you first, where you allow someone to be disappointed in you and you do not crumble. Each of those moments is a deposit into a different kind of account, not the social approval account that you have been so focused on, but the self-respect account. And as that account grows, something fundamental shifts in how you move through the world, how you hold yourself. How you speak, what you are willing to accept and what you are not. And people, without always knowing why, begin to respond to you differently. There is a version of this message that some people will hear as permission to become cruel, to become manipulative, to justify coldness and indifference under the banner of no longer being a pushover. That is not what this is. Understanding dark psychology, understanding manipulation, understanding the mechanics of power, it does not mean becoming the thing you are trying to protect yourself from. It means developing the literacy to navigate a world that already operates this way, whether you participate consciously or not. The goal is not to become someone who uses people. The goal is to become someone who cannot be used. Someone who can be warm without being weak. Someone who can be generous without being exploited. Someone who can care deeply about others while maintaining a clear and unwavering sense of where they end and you begin. The goal is to become someone who walks into a room and does not immediately scan for what everyone needs from them, but instead knows exactly who they are and what they came for. That is not the end of kindness. That is the beginning of a kindness that actually means something, because it comes from someone who has other options but chooses to give it, not from someone who gives it because they are afraid of what happens if they do not. That distinction between the niceness that flows from fear and the kindness that flows from genuine strength is everything. And when you finally feel it, when you finally operate from that second place, you will understand exactly what has been costing you all these years, and you will never go back.